What's up, everyone? Welcome to Enlighten the Shadows. Today's episode 28. Last week we had Stevie Ward, episode 27. And for those of the faint-hearted, those who get bored easily, I don't know how far you got into that, but that was some dynamite stuff. Stevie Ward and I just talked so deep about processing things in life and the things that you go through, suffering, setbacks, searching for meaning and purpose within those things. So yeah, that one was pure fire, man. I really appreciate him coming on our episode and chatting in that way. Especially, he had such a tough year, guys. Rugby League has been his life, and he unfortunately had to make the decision to retire because of those concussions. So yeah, the guy's going through a big process in his life right now. So massive respect to Stevie Ward. So check that episode out. But today, as I said, we just thought, you know what, let's have a bit of a Rugby League vibe. Stevie and I have slowly built a bit of a relationship through an amazing thing that he's popping off with called Mentality. Part of this Evolve group. We're growing. There's loads of blokes on there and it's quality. He brought on the man that we have with us today, Anthony Mullally, and this guy, there's more than meets the eye with this guy. He's living a really peculiar but powerful life, and I love what he's about. I love what he's going to bring today to equip us, because he's not just a rugby league player. Like, this guy has got some tools for us to access today. So, you know, guys, if you're feeling a bit stressed out, a bit anxious, struggling to just switch off, struggling to focus or get yourself pumped, I feel like this is the place for you today, wherever you're at. So yeah, Anthony Mullally, welcome to Like the Shadows, brother.
Oh, mate, thank you for having me.
Yeah, class, man. Yeah, as I said to the viewers, obviously I've been part of Stevie's thing that he's doing, trying to get blokes to grow. And to be honest with you, like, I just turn up to all of his events because I know he puts a lot of time and effort and he will bring quality people. So the first time I met you was literally like, I think a month ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was on the FaceTime, wasn't it? I think you was on work, wasn't you? You just like that.
Yeah.
You break, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, I always try and keep work and enlighten stuff separate, because I think if people see the kind of work that I do, it's got a bit of a stigma. People are like, what? And so yeah, I want to build up the relationship that people know that I'm on the level. I'm a sound guy, and I just care about people ultimately. But yeah, man. So I had my little night break on my late shift, and I was like, oh shoot. I want to say to viewers, these breathing exercises, man, like, they genuinely work. There's no, like, I don't know, there must be a bit of hesitation, people thinking, what, blokes doing a bit of breathing work, come on now. But I don't know, how did you get into all this kind of stuff? How did you get into, like, fitness stuff and the sports science stuff? Because obviously you play rugby league, like.
Yeah, well, going back to what you said about, like, the stuff works. Well, this is like, obviously the course I'm just completing now with Patrick McHugh and the Oxygen Advantage. It's all like heavily, like, science based. It's all proven, and it goes into that in heavy detail. So, and I think for people, when you can give people the kind of, like, rationale behind something, they buy into it more than saying these monks did it in the Himalayas like 1,000 years ago, which I personally love, and I would buy into that, but not everyone does. So if you can find a common ground for people to relate to, it helps them digest it. And so back to the last question. Yeah, so I got accepted to uni when I was younger to do sports science, but I deferred because I went to play in Australia, and so I never ended up going back to university. But I've always been really intrigued with strength and conditioning, and I was doing a lot of the UKSCA workshops, etc. But then I kind of stepped away from the S&C work in terms of wanting it as a career, because obviously I'm going into my other, like, splintering away from stuff now, away from rugby with my own workshops. But the breath work really, like, tied into this really well. I first seen it when I can't remember what I was watching about it, but it was just talking about, like, how it can affect performance, and not just performance in daily life, and how that unconsciously our breath is dictating a lot of stuff that's going on, and can help just a lot of just normal problems that we don't realize. So say, like, whatever it is, you get an email from your boss at work and it's not great, and then we start to like get worked up, we start to panic. But what we don't realize is we have an unconscious breathing pattern attached to this behavior pattern, and we start to breathe faster. And this faster breath from the mouth is getting rid of too much CO2, which is then we've not got enough oxygen to the tissues, and as well as that, the increased breathing signals a stress response to the brain, and which starts to put us in our fight or flight. And this is really simple stuff, like in terms of the science, but it's just not out there for people. And then the opposite's true. If we can be conscious and we can slow our exhale down, have a period of time where we slow our, not just the exhale, but the respiratory rate down per minute, especially a long controlled exhale, that's going to stimulate our vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve then emits a neurotransmitter which calms the body down. And so these are just two simple things to understand. And like they look into stuff like this, I thought, wow, there's something in this. And then obviously the performance side of it, which is a whole different story on its own. Yeah. But yeah, that's like, yeah, to answer your question.
No, that's sick, man. And I hope so. So a couple of things. When you said S&C, is that strength conditioning, right?
Yeah, sorry, strength conditioning.
No, it's cool, man, because I'm conscious, like me and you are like more sports science. Like my degree was sports science. So I'm just trying to get people on a level. So like, do you know, with this breathing, you said about the stress things that come like with everyday life and the jobs and that, I was just thinking about it. Like I sometimes also like tense up without realizing it. I don't know if you notice that. Do you know when you have a stressful situation, your body or like automatically tenses and stresses up like that?
Yeah,
I don't know if
you get tight. We hold our breath as well. We would be faster. We hold our breath, and we tighten up. That our chest gets tight.
Yeah, big time.
In that, as you know, in that like fight or flight response, when we're breathing too fast, our blood vessels constrict. So like, and obviously when we're constricting, we've got limited blood flow, and it's not good for the heart.
No, man, you don't. This is all totally like subconscious stuff we're talking about. I want the viewers to really like kind of try and get this. Like it's something that they might not have heard before. It's something that they might not even be conscious of in their everyday going. But I really want to go here today, and this is why I wanted to invite you. And I'm so buzzing you came on, mate, because this is an area of life that I feel, as you say, is so unrepresented, but it's so crucial. Like I don't know, like if you know about adverse childhood experiences, like ACEs, you have traumas as a child, and what it does is it puts strain on your body. And as you say, you're in this survival mode, and it's like, isn't it? It's your brain stem, isn't it, at the bottom of your brain, which is the bit that overrides your capability, to think like clearly and thoroughly. So I was just thinking like the same sort of thing in your everyday life. We consciously, without what we're going to do in a bit and talk more about is this breath work, is that we can get better at this, we can become healthier as a result of this. We don't have to struggle as much. You know what I'm saying? Like this is why I'm really excited about this stuff, man, because I've just started, since speaking to you, implement it in my life, and I'm like, honestly, I'm really starting to feel the difference, and I'm starting to become very conscious and aware. I'm like, shoot, like my breathing needs to be a lot better.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's what it is. I think research have seen there's a part of the brain which is linked directly to respiratory, and like we can by focusing on that, using that, it helps us to. I think I've used Viktor Frankl's saying before, in between stimulation and response is choice. And like by using that choice, by bringing ourselves back to the breath, because whatever's going on, we can always focus back on the breath and like check in where we are. Like we can like notice where we are, and in that check-in, it takes us out of that like unconscious behavior, and we can center, and then we can act accordingly.
Definitely. And something I was going to bring up as well, I don't know if you've ever struggled with it in your life, but is anxiety, or an occurrence of an anxiety, like where it starts to physically manifest. Like obviously it can start with like little butterflies, which can be a positive thing, but like generally, like people can get panic attacks. I never experienced anxiety until about 3 years ago. I thought it was a bit of like a cop out, and that just shows how clueless I were. But yeah, I think people with anxiety could maybe hone in, and this might be able to support them in a certain way. Because before we came on camera, I've got this necklace thing, and this is what I think is really cool is that you talk about. Well, I'm going to ask you to set the importance of how there's filtration around this area and how the nose is so important. But in ancient Asia, like they've been using this like I call it like an item or an object, and I actually tried it, just breathing in and out of it to focus on my breathing. It helped me somewhat, but I'll just put this out there. I think your stuff is like next level. I do. Like I've tried this. This works. If people want to check it out online, find yourself. Enlighten's all about investigating stuff, guys. So, but Anthony's the man today. We're gonna go through, and I'm gonna look like a mug. I'm gonna do some stuff like walking around at some point too. So, guys, this is a practical sesh. Hear me out. Don't think this is like one of those where you sit back, chillax. Yep, Roy's got a guest on. I'll split it. This is for you to participate as well. Sorry, I'm getting pumped, man. I'm buzzing for people because I think this could help them so much. How long have you been doing this for now, man?
In terms of breath work, about 3 years. I've been studying for 3 years. I first started. Do you know Lord Hamilton, the big wave surfer, ex-big wave surfer?
I don't, mate. Sorry, no.
He does all like the stunts for like in like James Bond and the bit and like the movies. He's a stunt. He was the next big wave surfer. He started a course called Extreme Performance Training, and it just pushing the boundaries of like human performance really. And breath work's like a fundamental cornerstone of it. And so I did one of their courses about 3 years ago, and then from then I've just been like implementing it into my life and just researching and studying. I did another course from Shift Adapt, and now I'm obviously doing Patrick McKeown's Oxygen Advantage, and they're all been great. But for me, Patrick's is it's got 20 years of research, 20 years of research, and they're doing work with athletes. They've got all these studies. It's just very comprehensive. It's like for me, because like you do need some sort of qualification, and like you've been to help coach people, you need to have done the work. Otherwise, anyone could just do it. So
yeah.
Patrick's is very comprehensive, and I'm just submitting my case studies for it now actually. So I'm not qualified with him yet, but hopefully in the next week I get me results back. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, man, come on, you got this. That'd be sick. That'd be exciting. Yeah, so I'm just like, I want to talk about some of the anatomy and physiology before we go through the breath work. Yep. So can you encourage our viewers, like who may, as I said, may struggle with anxiety, may struggle with panic attacks, or even conversely the focusing and really get themselves motivated and honed into any task or at work, whatever. Can you just take us through like the importance of taking the breaths in, where they go, what happens to it? I know you mentioned it when talk about activating the vagus nerve, and then but can you say it's like literally from the point where you start in the air and it's going in?
Yeah. So let me first say, so in terms of anxiety, what the Oxygen Advantage mainly work with. So we're applying acute stressors to create adaptations. And that's what they're doing, and they do that one via breathing mechanics and breath by addressing breathing mechanics. It's not just breathing mechanics, breathing patterns, and that what comes under that is biochemistry, biomechanics, breathing mechanics, and the cadence. And then they've got the breath holding work he does, and that's more for like your sports performance. That's like we're trying to create adaptations and help buffering a lactic acid and things like this via breath holds. But you're going to do some of that in a minute, so I won't get into that now. But with the breath work stuff and with the mechanic stuff, and so the big thing, let me just start, is CO2. So like CO2 is a waste gas to a degree, but it's also very crucial. So like you say, we breathe in, air comes down into the lungs, into the lower lobes of the lungs. Well, if that's what we're trying to do, breathing through the nose and use the diaphragm so it goes lower. We don't want to be breathing upper chest. When we breathe it in, goes lower, we get a gas exchange, and then it goes into where we get ventilation perfusion, and then it goes into the blood. And when it's in the blood, so you've heard of hemoglobin, the protein in your red blood cell. So that carries this might not 100% accurate. I think it's even 95 or 98% of the oxygen in the body. So the hemoglobin carries the oxygen around the body, but the catalyst is then CO2. So if we need an adequate amount of CO2 in the bloodstream, in the vessels, for the oxygen to drop off the hemoglobin, because its affiliation becomes weaker in the presence of CO2, and it drops off, and then it drops off into the tissues wherever we need it for just to work, whatever our metabolic rate is to do that. But a problem we've got nowadays, and this is linking into your anxiety question, the problem we've got nowadays is we're chronic mouth breathers. And when we breathe through our mouth, we don't really have a filter on how much CO2 we're letting out. And me talking now, I'm letting out too much, but I'm talking. It's fine. I know when I don't, I breathe through my nose and I breathe gently.
Yeah.
But what happens is we get used to breathing out a lot of CO2. And when you breathe out a lot of CO2, so we have something in our brain called chemoreceptors, and they measure the levels of CO2. And this becomes desensitized because we're letting out too much.
Right. So, okay.
And then, but obviously CO2. So if you held your breath now, when that urge you need to breathe, and after 20, 25 seconds, 30 seconds, you're going to start panicking. Yeah. And that CO2, that's your chemoreceptors telling your brain you need to fucking breathe. And then, and then your brain sends signals to your diaphragm, and your diaphragm starts to contract.
Yeah.
But CO2 is the main driver to breathe, but it's not because you've got low oxygen. If you had a pulse oximeter on your finger, your oxygen will be fine. It's just because we've become so sensitive to CO2 from over breathing and things like this. So this is where the anxiety comes in, because we've got such like a low tolerance to it. As soon as it builds up a little bit, and then we overbreathe, and then when we overbreathe, we start to trigger our fight or flight. So just by breathing through our mouth, we are in a more sympathetic response, because we're over breathing out too much CO2. So that's a quick little insight on that. So with the Oxygen Advantage, with the exercises we do, we're trying to build people's tolerances to CO2. And we do this by, obviously we have the breath hold and stuff, but then the other stuff we do like reduced breathing exercises, where we just slow our respiratory rate down per minute. So we want to bring it down to 6 breaths per minute, and we really slow our inhale down, slow the exhale down, and to the point of hunger. We want to feel a slight hunger, but not to the point where it's stressful. And when we feel the hunger, we know we've got an increased CO2. And if we can stay in this point, and it's like a sweet spot, you want to feel a bit of a hunger, but you don't want to be stressed. If you start feeling contractions, you've gone a bit too far. So we want to be in that point, so then what we're doing with that is the CO2s, we're getting the body used to a higher level, where we're deliberately exposing the body to a higher level of CO2, so we can increase the sensitivity. But also with the like slow reduced breathing, we're also relaxing the body at the same time, and putting the body in a parasympathetic state. And the feeling of hunger itself, it helps stimulate the vagus nerve. So, but to a degree, not too stressfully. But yeah, so that's kind of a brief. Does that make sense? Have I rambled on a bit there?
No, it's class, mate. You went in, you get pure detail. Like it gives a bit of clout and a bit of backing to what we're gonna do. Because like, look, everyone's skeptical, right? Like you always go like, all right, yeah, we've got a rugby league guy who's going to do breath work. Okay, but and what? So
it's called. If anyone wants to study, it's called the Bohr effect. There's a science, and the Bohr effect is basically that what I just said about when the CO2 in the bloodstream helps helps oxygen drop off hemoglobin. It's called the Bohr effect. It's as proven as the sunrise in the morning. You know, like so you can Google it and see I think it's Christian Bohr, the scientist who discovered the preliminary role of CO2.
Yeah, brother. And for people viewing, as you know, I always pummel the screen with things to inform you. So like on the screen, as this has been happening, I've been putting up the sweet science for you. And as we said, we'll want to equip you today. We don't just want it to be a little sesh where you're like, okay, good for you. This is about really engaging you, equipping you, learning, and then also so we're participating. So yeah, we hope that you're sponging this, guys, because I'm like, yeah, I just know that there's power in this, and this is why I wanted this episode to happen. And it's really going to quiet. I wanted before we're just about to start it soon in a sec, mate, but I want to talk about like the routine and like making this habitual. Is there anything like you could advise from your experiences, your journey in this area of breathwork? Like, what's helped you, brother, to like make this like a routinistic thing where it's going to have impact, it's going to have effect in your life, sort of thing?
I suppose it depends. It all depends on where you're at in your own like experience in your own life. What is it you need to? What is it you're struggling with? Are you struggling with concentration? Because there's stuff we do that when we do the small breath holds. Obviously, when you're holding your breath, your mind isn't really going anywhere else. It's on the breath, even if it's 10 to 15 seconds. So like there's that, and then if you've got anxiety, there's stuff we do for that. So in all, like in the case studies I've just done, like I use myself because I've had a lot of benefits from it. So I've used my experience and two others, and the two other people that I used, they were different. One was a really busy mum who hasn't got a minute to think. She gets like a tight chest and she gets anxiety. And the other one, the other guy done, he's like he can't concentrate. He cannot like still his mind at all. So obviously, by using some of the breathwork stuff and the tools we have, just by concentrating on the breath, like when we're doing the exercise, when we're talking through it, it gives you a focal point to put your attention on. And obviously it will one day, but we just keep putting it back. We just keep putting it back. And like, obviously I think the definition of concentration is like, how long can we put our attention on a subject matter? So like we're doing that in these exercises as well, So it depends where you are. So for me, I'm trying to improve my, at first, so we talk about the nose. I want to be breathing through my nose 100% of the time at rest. At exercise, 85%. When I'm in maximal high intensity, I have to breathe through mouth. But as soon as I can, I'll go back to my nose. So for me, and at first, when you start exercising through your nose, it's a process. It'll take about 6 to 8 weeks from the studies we've seen.
Wow.
To get to be comfortable doing it, like that's going for a jog with your nose. So, and by that you just start at your own pace. So you start, say you're going for a 2K jog. Try if you only get 100 meters through your nose, that's fine. The next time you do it, go for 150 and build up. You know what I mean? So it's not like I can't do it, and it's like, well, you can't right now, but you will. You just gotta stick with it. So for me, it's like I had to get comfortable doing that, and that's so. And now I breathe all the time through my nose and majority of the time in exercise. So, and then it's just like doing like the simulation of altitude work to help me buffering capacity for lactic acid and things like this. So it all depends where you're at. There's some sort of breath exercise for like whatever you need to do, like psychological.
Yeah, man.
It's a big statement, but
it's like no, do you ever take out time in your day to intentionally do it? It's like a meditation or like a mindfulness. Do you ever do that, or is it just more like?
Well, I've got a pretty, not strict because this kind of defeats the object, but I meditate for half an hour a day every day. In the morning I have like a morning routine. I'll get up, I'll read, and then I'll meditate for half an hour, and then I'll go down the river for some cold exposure. And in that 30 minutes at the start of it, the first like 5, I'd say, I do some sort of breath work. What might be some small breath holds, might be some like cadence, but some box breathing, just something to get your attention on something straight away. Because I noticed in the start of my meditations, the first 10-15 minutes, my mind's going crazy, and then it slowly starts to slow down after I've got like past like 15-20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
So
feel you, man. I'd be falling asleep. I'm not a morning person, brother. If you want me come down the river for a sprinkle and that cold water, I'll be like, no, mate, you're gonna have to get a lasso and freaking drag me there, pal. It's not happening. Speaking of those cold exposures, I want to say it's like on a level like, so with Stevie with the Evolve program, Mullally, it says like, oh, try and do like 1 or 2 or 3 minutes of the cold shower, bro. Honestly, I was smashing it the first few days, and then literally like the 3 out of the 4 other exercises, you know, the what you're grateful for, um, what's your exercise, and doing mindfulness, like relaxation, meditation. I'm doing really well with those. And then I went like a month, absolute bottle job, never doing the cold showers, brother. Honestly, I'll be like screaming like a girl, like, it's freaking, oh, it's brutal. And then I've learned to do breath work. Literally, since your breath work, I said to my missus, I completely overcome the coldness of the shower because my mind just focused so strongly on the breath work. Because naturally, you tense up like that because of the cold. But if you do the breath work, mate, overcoming. So I'm getting better, is all I'm saying. I've recent last week or two, getting better.
love
Quite
it, man.
proud of myself. Mate, I've even been going like 4 or 5 minutes in that cold shower.
Oh, really?
Oh, brother, yeah, smashing records.
Nice, mate. That's class.
I bet you're like a submarine in that river, aren't you? For like 10 minutes. I bet you're loving it, aren't you? You're going there
Yeah,
for
I
ages.
did 10 minutes. I did 10 minutes every day. Yeah, I mean, I love cold showers. I think they're great, and I think with cold showers sometimes is like there's a different element. You just stood there looking at the shower. You know, it's about to just like spurt on you, and stuff. But and it's there's loads of scientific benefits. But with the full like cold exposure in like a cold river or lake, like for over like 5 minutes, like when you start to activate them like cold proteins, and obviously you get that immune response, like the white blood cells, because like your body thinks it's like under attack. I know you get some of that from the cold shower, but I love them both. But I'm fortunate enough to have the river there. I know if I didn't, I'd be doing the showers. But
Well, I've got the River Trent up the road.
really.
Can you imagine I'll get on the tram to work. I'll get off at the tram stop at the embankment and get in the River Trent for 10 minutes, and people are like, what is this guy doing?
Mate, I get it every day. I get French people taking pictures of me in the river, walking by.
That's my
Yeah,
no, absolute ledge, mate. So in terms of breath work, we'll smash it out like you know how you did last time. Like you be like, you be the sensei. I'll be the student. I'll do all the breath work. And so for the viewers, when I say to you, this is the bit where we're going to smash this out. So listen to my man here. He's going to lead us into it. I'm going to participate. This is a full practical session now. So just try and switch off your phone. Obviously, some of you might be on it, but get away from distractions. Find yourself a quiet space right now, guys, because this is honestly, this is massive. This could potentially change your life. Like, I'm not even trying to hype it that much, but it's true, it can. So yeah, brother, smash it. I'm all ears now.
Well, the first one, I just need to say the first one we're going to do. So we're going to do a preparation for simulation of altitude training into simulation of altitude training, and then we're going to down regulate with some cadence breathing. So we're going to do the preparation first, which isn't too strenuous. But I need to stress for people listening, if you've got any heart conditions, or if you're a lady and you're pregnant, don't do it. I think people with asthma and anxiety, they're okay to do the preparation simulation of altitude, because it's not too much of a stressor. But when we move on to the stressor, it's really important you don't. If you've got any underlying issues, it's probably you don't push it. It's no more strenuous than going for a decent jog. You know what I mean? In terms of like your heart rate and stuff. Like but it's just, I don't know who's doing it. You know what I mean? So I just said we're not doing anything crazy here, because the point of this, we get to do minimal like trauma on the body for really beneficial internal results. You know, that's why we're doing it. So I'll just tell you really briefly the simulation of altitude training, why we do it. So studies show that after up to like around 30 seconds of a breath hold, your spleen starts to contract extra red blood cells. So the spleen holds 8% of our red blood cells, but it's really good blood. So it's called hemocratic blood, very good oxygen carrying blood. So when after we do around five sets of the 30 seconds, because that's about as after the five, that's about as good as you can get from it. So and after a certain time, it reabsorbs back into the spleen. But in between that time, extra red blood cells mean extra oxygen carrying capacity. So this is why we're doing this, to get more oxygen, get more red blood cells in the stream. But then on the other end of that, we're in terms of the adaptations. So when we have elevated levels of CO2, it's called hypercapnia. When we have low levels of oxygen, and so when our SpO2 is low, that's called hypoxia. With this exercise, we're achieving both. Not dangerous levels of SpO2. Maybe we want to achieve around 85% blood saturation. You're not at any risk of passing out till you're around 60. So like we're not pushing it too far. So we're dropping the oxygen, we're higher in the CO2. What this does, both of them create an increased hydrogen ion in the tissues, and then this is what helps us with the buffering effect. We're consciously doing this, and this helps our buffering capacity with, obviously, because hydrogen ion is turns into I might not be saying this right, but linked with lactic acid. So this is one of the mechanisms in the process of it. So by raising this, we're exposing our body to it and helping it to buffer it, you know. So this is why we do this, as well as the spleen contraction. So that, I know that was really sciencey, sorry, but that's why. So to start with the preparation, we're going to stand up, and we're going to take. You're going to not right now, but you're going to take 10 steps in the room back and forth. But so you're going to not right now, but you're going to take a normal inhale, a normal exhale, hold your nose, pinch your nose, and you're going to walk for 10 steps. So this is the preparation. So this won't be too stressful. This is just getting the body ready for some bigger breath holds. So when you're ready, mate, breath in through your nose, out through your nose, pinch your nose, hold your nose, walk for 10 steps. Just take a few normal breaths. So we're going to do a couple of sets of this. Breathe through your nose, please, bro. I see you breathing through your mouth. Yeah. So why are you having a rest? And when you're doing it again, I'm going to talk through why we breathe through our nose, why you're doing this. So take 2 more breaths, and then hold your nose, pinch your nose, and walk for 10 paces. I'm just going to talk. So basically, the nose, whoever designed us, when evolution designed us as humans, the nose is linked with our respiratory system. The mouth is linked with, when the mouth was made, it had digestion in mind. So and obviously with the mouth, we can get a lot of oxygen in and a lot of oxygen out, and that's really good for when we're like absolute maximal effort. We need to get the CO2 out. We need to get the oxygen in. To meet that metabolic rate at that time. But when we're at rest, we're just breathing too much, and there's a lot of it. It's really stressful. It's stressful for the body. It's stressful for the heart as well. When you're ready, mate, after have another breath and then do the same again. So I'm just gonna tell you why we should breathe through our nose. Basically, the nose is like the immune system's first line of defense. It's like it's a perfect filtration system. The hairs in our nose catch a lot of bacteria. And bacteria coming in, and it sends it down to the blood, to the acid in the stomach, and it kills it. It also humidifies the air. So our lungs don't like cold air. That's why we're going for a jog, and like you breathe through your mouth, and your lungs and your chest sting. That's one of the reasons. So the nose humidifies the air. It treats the air ready to go into the lungs. When we breathe through our nose, do one more set. Yeah, when we breathe through our nose, because of the extra, there's an added resistance breathing through your nose as well, and that activates the diaphragm. The diaphragm is the main breathing muscle, but a lot of us don't use it because we're breathing into our upper chest, and we've got a lot of rich oxygenated blood in the lower lobes of the lungs. So when we're breathing through our nose using our diaphragm, we're using that oxygenated blood. When we're just breathing through our mouth in our upper chest, we're getting poor ventilation perfusion. And as well, after a certain amount of time of holding your nose, nitrate builds up in the sinuses. So when you're doing this, one of the other benefits to this, after we're going to up it in a minute, after you breathe in through your nose after the exercise, nitrate's coming into the nose, and nitrate, what that does when you breathe it in through your nose into the lungs, it helps redistribute the blood. But it's also it's a bronchodilator, so it also opens up the blood vessels in the lungs. It's primarily mainly in the lungs. CO2 does it elsewhere in the body. But it's like there's a lot of other, it's like antibacteria is nitrate as well. There's a lot of benefits to it. So we've got all these benefits of breathing through our nose, and like the mouth just doesn't have any of them really. So that's one of the main reasons we should breathe through our nose. So right now you've done 4 warm-ups. So we're gonna push it up a little bit. So you just done 10. So what we want to do now is it's still it's a stress zone. It's going to be tough, but you don't want to it doesn't want to be too hard. So I say around like 80% of discomfort. So you don't want to put for me, if I push it too far, I feel like I'm going to urinate. Honestly, yeah. People have said this, and Patrick on the stuff I've watched have said that's taking it too far. So if you feel that, you've gone too far. So I'd say aim for 20 steps for the first one, but it's on you. So when you're ready, hold your nose, pinch your nose, breathe in, breathe out, hold your nose, pinch your nose, and walk for 20 paces. Whilst you're doing it, what I find is for me, my diaphragm starts to twitch, and that is the brain sending a signal to your diaphragm telling it needs to breathe because you've not got any oxygen. That's when yeah. And then what happens? So by doing this, we're training that relationship. We're training that to ease up, the brain's response to ease up, and this helps with like stress and anxiety also because we've not got the body making us act this way. How did that feel, mate?
Absolutely fine, but right around 18 seconds, just started twitching in here that's
not a problem. We want to try relax into that as well. So like when you feel that, try relax into it. So because obviously it's a stressor that's what we're doing. So yeah, take a couple more breaths, mate. And then after the next one, hold your nose, pinch your nose, and walk. Let's try and go for 25 paces. So again, after you've done the 25, once you breathe in through your nose, you're taking the built up nitrate from the nasal cavities down into the lungs. This is helping redistribute the blood. So there's a lot of benefits to it. How was that? Sorry. Take a second.
a lot better when you again, like when we did this last time, and this is for the viewers to think, and I said this to you actually on the workshop, how in your mind, like when you go underwater, your mind starts to go, oh crap, but it's just calming your mind and just remaining knowing, just stay calm and you breathe like as you're holding it, and then you can just take a nice deep breath in. And so yeah, it was good. It was stressing, like in a good way. But 25 is good.
What I want you to do next time, after the set, when you breathe in through your nose, I want, instead of like breathing in normally, I want you to take 6 short breaths. Not like just like it's gonna be uncomfortable. But what we're doing with the short breaths is it releases a bit of tension on your diaphragm, but it helps prolong those hypoxic, hypercapnic effects we're trying to get for the adaptations. So, and it'll be a little uncomfortable. So, but I'd like you to try that next after it. So, when you're ready, mate, We're going to breathe in through your nose, out through your nose, hold your nose, pinch your nose, and let's go. See how 25 feels this time, mate. If you can push it, do it. If not, 25 is completely fine. Remember, you've got plenty of oxygen. It's the buildup of CO2 that's telling your brain you need to breathe. The more we can train this response, the more we'll get used to having it in our system, the more oxygen we're going to get to our tissues when it's needed. Also what's happening in now is as well, you probably feel like pretty alert and focused, I'm guessing.
Mate, as you said, take the breath in in your nose, out your nose, hold it, do 25. I was actually panicking, like the stress was more than ever actually on that third time. But what was great, when you said to do the 6, like when I came back, and then afterwards the buzz I felt, it wasn't like a whoa effect, but it was like a right, yeah, I felt really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Well, that's what I was saying. So obviously, when the body's like in this kind of stress, I can't remember what it's called, but it sends extra blood to the brain and to the heart. So that's why you're feeling a bit more alert and focused now, because the brain's going to like your major vital organs.
Massively.
Yeah, so that's one. And obviously, yes, you say you're panicking. That's the build up of CO2, mate, and that's what we need to. You got to think. So if we can build our tolerance to CO2, when because unconsciously we're breathing the way we breathe. Puts us in fight or flight, and we breathe like this because the buildup of CO2, and it makes us breathe. The more we can build our tolerance to it, the slower we can breathe. The more in a better balance we're going to be from our our sympathetic and parasympathetic. You know, it's just going to help our overall well-being.
It's class, mate. Honestly, I feel really like wired, really wired.
It's an upregulator. It's a stressor. That's what it's for. Mate, yes. If you feel ready to do 2 more breaths and then go again, we've got 2 more sets. You just go to. I'm not going to say do a certain amount. Obviously, do what feels comfortable. Obviously, we do want to push it, but don't push it too far. And you feel the diaphragm twitching, just relax into it. You know you've got enough oxygen. You know everything's fine. It's just the brain sending signals. To work. Through your nose now, buddy.
Sorry. Whoa. No, it's just my mouth's like whoa, because I'm just like, have you ever done shisha, smoked shisha before?
Yeah.
Right. Do you remember the first time when you did that? Like the first time when you took a hit? It's like that. You just feel really good. Wow. I'm not endorsing shisha because I'm, but it does. It's that same kind of feeling. It's quite euphoric, and it makes you like really like alive.
Yeah.
I guess I know this sounds really extreme, but as I'm thinking this through, brother, is that I feel like this is the reason why people take drugs. Like I'm not trying to, promote any of that, but this is like when your body has these effects, this is what people seek after. It's just like, yeah, it's quite powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's altered states in it, altered state, and it is. It's an altered state. Obviously, you've got a lot of blood rushing to the brain to make you focused and alert, and it's going to your heart as well. How do your hands feel? Do you feel a bit cold or not? Are they hot?
No, sweaty. I don't know, but I'm always sweaty. It might be because we're doing an episode.
Yeah.
So when I do an episode, I'm naturally hot anyway. Like, but when I do an episode, I'm even more like more adrenaline in me. Like, so I sweat more. Yeah, just because I like this and I get pumped for it, and also like doesn't matter how many times I must have done these episodes, like 30, nearly 40 times, I still get a little bit of anxious nerves. So yeah, I'm a bit sweaty, but
how many steps did you do that last one?
It was like 30.
30. Okay.
Yeah.
How much out of 10? What was the discomfort level?
About 8.
Yeah, I'd say that's good. I wouldn't say push it any further than that.
Yeah.
So I'd say take a couple two decent sized breaths, not really big through your nose, in and out through your nose, and then on the exhale, hold your nose, pinch your nose, and let's do our last set. Yeah, 5 sets. 5 sets is enough to get the maximum effects we want from the spleen in terms of the blood cells. After it'll absorb back into circulation. After, there's different studies. Some say 10 minutes, some say an hour, but we say 10 minutes. That's it. Relax into it. Nice work, mate.
Whoa. Yeah.
So I won't do this. I won't do this one before a game. With the walking, but I'll do 5 30-second breath holds, but just sat still, 30 to 35, to get that spleen contraction. Obviously, I don't want to be increasing my highs as I am before a game. You know what I mean? But I do this every day. I do this on a bike after my weight session in the gym, pedaling, and yeah, I do that. That's one of my daily exercises.
Brilliant, mate. So just 5, essentially.
Yeah, well, you can do 5 twice a day, but not. I won't do like the simulation of altitude, but you could do another like seated 5 30-second efforts. So the reason to do this, and what I've learned from Patrick is, so if you do it, you've got to do it for, if you do it for a good few days before competition, like consistently, what happens is I might say this wrong, so forgive me anyone listening does, but we're trying to release EPO, erythropoietin. Obviously, what Lance Armstrong got done for, but obviously we're doing it naturally. So that he was injecting extra red blood cells. We're releasing it from the spleen. So a legal, natural way. And if you do it for a certain amount of days, something happens with the kidneys, and it helps the bone marrow release even more of this rich red blood. So like, say a competition, I'll be doing it twice a day, 4 days before a game to get these effects. So this is that's just another part of it. So obviously this isn't, obviously I like to think some of the stuff I've said will help, but like this stuff is mainly for like sports performance. So this isn't gonna help. First of all, this isn't gonna help someone with anxiety, because the feeling of hunger is gonna bring on your anxiety. So I wouldn't do this. Obviously, I've also said don't do it if you've got any heart issues or if you're pregnant. But now we're going to move on to some cadence breathing or rhythmic breathing, and that is where you can either do it 4 seconds in, with a 6-second exhale, a 1 second pause. But we're going to do it with a 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. We do it with this time because the research and studies show that when we drop our respiratory rate per minute to 5.5 to 6 breaths, it helps the nervous system. So obviously the nervous system, it's different. It's obviously we've got one nervous system, but you're either in sympathetic, fight or flight, we've got the other spectrum that's parasympathetic, and that's like rest and digest. That's where we're recovering. So, and when we breathe at this tempo per minute, it puts us in that good balance. We want the balance as well. It's not all want to be parasympathetic all the time, because we won't get anything done. And we want to use our sympathetic nervous system as well. It's kept us alive for a long time. Yeah. But the only issue is we're in it now. Like I said before, when you get an email from your boss and like things are going wrong, and we're over in it. And the problem is, when you're in it, you're releasing adrenaline, you're releasing cortisol, and short term it's great. That's why I get in the river, and that's why I do the fast breathing sometimes, not all the time, because it releases that, but consciously. But when you're doing it throughout the day and you don't realize, that's when the problem is, because these stress hormones long term are detrimental, but short term they're very effective. You know?
Yeah, man. Do I need to? Is it the ones we're doing now? Just a chair to sit down in because we're chilling, aren't we? Yes, mate. Brill. That's really good.
I need to get a stopwatch.
It's really good. I know. So for the people watching, I know this is like thick meat stuff right now. There's a lot of scientific words popping off. There's lots of
Yeah, and by the way,
detailed descriptions.
I'm
It's
not a
class.
scientist, but I've if anyone, I've got the studies to show what I'm saying, so that's I'm not making any claims. This is all stuff I've read and looked at.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to pass. Sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely, brother. And this is what I'm saying. I just want to encourage the viewers. Like, this is like quality stuff right now. But what I would like people to do as well is, obviously we're going to do the more chillax breathing now, which I think a lot of people benefit too, more so, probably more so. But this is important, guys, that we don't just go, oh, all right, yeah, come back to this. Take your time with this episode. It's not about having to get through this full episode. Just pause it, learn a little bit, come back to it, rewatch it. It's like I would compare it to like the film like The Matrix. The Matrix is a sick film, and it takes time to kind of like maybe watch it a second time to come back to it, to find stuff out, different perspective or lens, and to like really soak up things you might have missed. So yeah, I just want to say to viewers, if you're enjoying this as well, just click that subscribe button so we can reach more men and equip them, skill them, transform them. Because although In Light in the Shadows is about preventing suicide and helping men's lives, this breathing work is essentially going to be beneficial for your overall well-being, guys. And we're not in just to like be reactive and help people in that sense. We want to be proactive too. We want to empower men so that they're stronger, fitter, mentally and physically. So just wanted to pitch that in there as well. Sorry, Mullally, mate. Can't help it.
Oh, useful stuff, mate, for sure. Right, mate, I'm gonna.
Wait up.
Oh,
I think my camera's gone a little bit, Lally. Oh no, that's never happened on an episode before.
that's fine.
We'll do that one. There we go.
No problem. Right, mate. So this is going to be. We're going to do it for about five. We'll do it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll guide you for the first 2.5. So obviously people watching, it's just literally going to be me counting and you breathing for the first 2.5 minutes, and then after that, once I stop counting, I want you to carry on the cadence that I was doing, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I've already mentioned it, but I will talk a little bit about why we're doing it. So why else you are carrying on the 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Okay, mate. So when you're ready, breathe in and breathe out, and once you breathe out, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you carry on breathing, that's not been 2.5 minutes, but I just thought I'd stop just for the sake of people watching. But if you just carry on that, in for 5, out for 5, I just want to talk about a couple of things. So I can see you breathing through your nose. That's great. I want you to know why you're doing this. I want you to put your hands on the side of the bottom of your lower ribs, on the two lower ribs. And whilst you're breathing in, using the tempo, I'd like you to really focus on the ribs laterally expanding. So I want you, so on the inhale, your hands pushing out, and on the exhale, your hands are falling back in. Obviously, it's not going to be that much, but I want you to feel a definite lateral expansion on the inhale. Can you feel that? It's more bring them around the back like this. Can you feel the lateral expansion? Good. So we do this because this lets us know we're using our diaphragm. Because if you were breathing through your mouth and your upper chest, it'd be like this. You'd be like you'd be like, instead of where really we want lateral expansion of the lower ribs, and then we want the stomach to rise, and then not even really your chest, and then it's a falling away. So it's like a wave. The stomach comes up, lateral ribs expand, and then they drop. We want minimal movement of the chest. So keep up that tempo. Nice slow 5 in, nice slow 5 out through the nose. You can put your hands down now, put them back to where you feel comfortable, but carry on with the breathing, please. I just wanted you to know that that's the breathing mechanics that we just did there. So you're using your diaphragm. You bring in the nitrate in, you bring in the oxygen into the lower lungs, you're getting better ventilation perfusion. The nice slow breaths are going to really balance our para/sympathetic nervous system. And when they are balanced, it gives the body time to heal. So when we've had a stressful day at work, you come home, we do this. I'll do this breathing before bed because it'll down-regulate and helps you relax. So we do this before bed, and the body might be unconsciously in fight or flight still from the day. This really helps us like down-regulate and relax before sleep. Right, I'll guide you for the last minute. Give me a thumbs up on your exhale. The end of the exhale. Okay, so in, 2, you close your eyes if you like. 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's time, mate.
Whoa. Oh, I think that's time for bed now.
Do you feel like the increased saliva?
Yeah, like right around here.
But yeah, that's a sign that we're in your parasympathetic. That's a sign like obviously we're in rest and we're in recovery. That's usually that's what it's like. That's normally a telltale sign. So yeah, so obviously you see like just from the breath we've just like upregulated. Yeah, now we've downregulated. So it's powerful stuff, man. It's like going to be like it'll be part of my journey going forward now for a long time.
Bro, honestly, I just feel so chill. Like, it's so weird because this is what I say to the viewers. Like, if you've genuinely tried this, and we want to encourage you, both of us to encourage you to implement this in life and just give it a go, guys. It's all about curiosity as well. We were talking about this on the Enlightened private group, just talking about the nature of curiosity. The more likely you are to actually try something if you're curious by it. If you feel obligated, if you feel like it's a dead thing, you're not going to bother with it. So we just want to say, just have it go, and just, you never know is what I'm saying. You never know. But I just went from being completely wired and just like, yeah. And then literally now I'm like, yeah, the episode's done, man. I'm going to bed. Like, I'm just so chill right now. But yeah, oh, bro, this has been sick. I really appreciate it. And just because we are a men's mental health group and we want to support people best we can. And, mate, you've had your experiences in life. You've been under pressures as, professional athlete. Is there any bit of small advice for our viewers you could give them, mate, about where they just feel utterly hopeless, they don't see a way out, or they even maybe feel suicidal? Is there any short piece of advice you could give them, mate?
Yeah. So this might not be towards the suicidal because I can't really relate to that. But I'll say, first of all, I'll say, I know it sounds generic and people say it, but like, don't take things personally. Like, so for me, this is what I've learned. So, and this is one of the rules I live by. So, because what happens is we take things personally. Most of the time, the situation isn't what it is. Like we've made an assumption and we took it personally. First of all, the assumption probably isn't right, and then because of this assumption, we took it personally, internally, and created a whole scenario, and we become victims. So just to like be more fluent with this, just let things not always let things go because stuff needs action needs taken, but stuff that doesn't serve you, let it go. And just to know that wherever we are and whatever you're experiencing, everything's temporal and everything's going to change. This is where you are now. It's not going to be the same in a few weeks' time. So just ride it out.
Brother,
And
I'm
sorry,
not.
ride out and talk. Don't ride out and like, I've got this. I'm tough. Like ride it out, but be open and like let people know where you are. Yeah.
Brother, you know, I've got this on my table earlier because I was burning a bit of thread, but fire, brother. I've never heard, honestly, this is why I love Enlighten. I love doing what I do and inviting just unique people and people who've got something about them. I've never heard that slant and perspective. And I think in the time and day we live in, we can be quite, it's so polarized, the social media, society's become so at war with each other. And I feel like it's so easy to get offended. And I've never heard that side of things. And I think that is a massive component of being grounded, rationalizing clearly with your thoughts. So thank you, mate. That is some absolute class piece of advice, is to not take it personally and not have an offense. So, mate, brilliant. Thanks for bringing that. Because a lot of people were like, hold on a minute, like, you what? I didn't expect that. And that was beautiful, because a lot of the answer to that, and they're brilliant and they're not wrong at all either, just like yours. It's quite empathetic. It's like, and you did lace that in the end, but I just love that. I love what you brought. And so we want to say to the viewers, check this out. Check out the breathing techers. Check it out. Implement it when you can. It works for me. It works for Mullally. So you never know. But this has been episode 28, guys. If you haven't already, Mullally's Insta handle's been on a couple of times throughout the episode. Follow him right now. It's coming up on the screen. As well as that, we're obviously on socials as well. So Twitter, Instagram, we're always trying to encourage people, give them wisdom, highlight suicide awareness. So check us out. Our handle's coming up right now. It's at Enlighten the 𝑎. As I said at the start of the show, if you haven't, and as it's come throughout, subscribe to us, guys. We want to reach far and wide. We want to equip men. We want to empower and transform their lives. But ultimately, we want to save lives. So Enlighten's doing some big things. We've had some cool stuff popping off recently. We've got 26-sheet posters across the Nottingham Tram network. Literally, it's mad. I can't believe it. NET, big shout out and love to you for sponsoring us when we didn't even ask. We thought we were going to come to you guys paying, and you've sponsored everything, like the print, the work. And so when I was on the tram, it was today, in this recording day, I literally, my eyes bulged. I went, what's going on? Our posters are up. And I didn't know. So we're reaching people is what I'm saying. But we don't stop there, guys. This is what I want to stress before I say bye to you and thank Ant for his amazing work today, is we can't stop here. These lockdowns have caused so much damage, and so the work's only just beginning for us. So we want to reach men all over the place. And so if you're struggling, get in touch with us, guys. Come on the screen right now is our private men's Facebook chat group. We're blessed to see it grow month by month. For about 490 odd men that we're supporting, and things are popping off. Men are just opening up, they're being vulnerable. So trust me, it's a place where you can disclose things, and we'll support you and pour out the love on you, man. So yeah, guys, this has been sick. Mullally, you smashed it, mate. I hope people are gonna go on the journey. Let's just call it the journey, mate, to the self-discovery.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah, man. Who knows? We might have to. If you're still in South France, we might have to bring some enlightened boys to the south of France. Watch a rugby match or something. Just do a mad one, like do a tour trip, and then try out the river.
Love it, mate. Sounds great.
Yeah, honestly, we'll be in touch, mate. I say it'd be class. I know your season's starting to start up for you, so I'm really excited for you, man. And I hope you have a great season, bro.
Well, I'm nearly finished. Well, I'm in it now, but thank you. We're doing well.
Yeah.
But thank you, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, because all the COVID thing, it's just been crazy, hasn't it? Everything's just been like
stop and start. You're right.
Yeah, but thanks, brother. Appreciate it, guys. This has been episode 28. Check us out next time. We love you guys. Appreciate you, and we'll see you. Cheers.
See you guys.